ballot, you also must qualify for the regional to national. If you don't know those little details because you're not paying attention, you're busy paying attention to other political parties, you are going to miss the requirements and it's going to be a problem. I'm not saying what happened. That's what happened. I'm just saying I've seen that problem with several political parties.
Arise Mzansi. Rise Mzansi and Arise South Africa. Two different parties. They look alike. You could see the colors are the same, the names are the same. For those who do not know, Rise Mzansi means Rise South Africa, and of course I don't know who registered first, but even if you register, doesn't mean that you thought of the idea first. It doesn't matter. Unfortunately, we are speaking now when Arise South Africa has been checked out of the participation for the elections. The reason I want to talk about them now is I want to compare the two. In fact, they are leaders. So let me start with their similarities. I think both of them, in terms of social and political credibility, they come high. I mean, they are not tainted by any bad things in the past. Eloquence and oratory skills, best communicators. Mpho Dadaga himself is a natural born speaker. He speaks, he's an award-winning communicator. Songezo Zibi, I mean, he's more like JJ Tabane. I mean, they are the face of communication and branding in South Africa. Songezo has led many teams in business, and they are both educated and smart. They are just new entrants, so they are what you would call not natural, like Mashaba when he came in. So these are the people who are not naturally politicians naturally in South Africa. So we're talking about someone who from the grassroots levels, and then they ascend through political structures until they become national, and then so both of them are not. And of course, I said they are not. They are village boys, both of them. They both come from villages, and it may not be village per se, but they come into areas that are not in metropolitans, like in Johannesburg and Pretoria, where we get to know people from Soweto and in Gauteng who dominate political spaces. They are both authors, and they are media branding. That's as far as the similarities are the same. Are in check, but I think the difference, there aren't much differences between the two, between Mpho, but the biggest difference I think you would tell is Mpho is about 20 years younger than, almost 20 years younger than Songezo, and the age difference is telling. It's telling in this way. South Africans, it's funny I'm talking about this if I already have results for 2024 elections, but South Africans find it very difficult to trust someone who is young. Africa is a young continent. It's a very young continent. I mean, we are in the early 20s or maybe 17s, in the teens in terms of average age of Africans. We are around there, but the political leaders are around 70s in terms of the average age. And in South Africa, it's also the same thing. We tend to trust older people with experience, and that's why maybe you would see the difference. But Songezo is approaching 50. Mpho was born 94, so he's turning 30 this year, if he hadn't turned 30. So a lot of South Africans, young South Africans, don't vote. So the people who are older don't really trust them. Mpho comes from the Bitcoin. He was a millionaire at 21. Songezo from village went to high. Maybe he went to varsity. He got there and he did his BCom. He went into industry and championed lots of organizations. You see them there. I mean, he worked for big organizations, VW, and he's trusted by the markets. He knows how to work with and command teams. This is where the biggest difference between the two is. Mpho, I think people think he's a lone ranger because of what he has done in the past. He seems to be a soul, someone who ascended alone. I struggle. You see, this is his party list. I know no one from his party list. I mean, Songezo, you could see the depth of Songezo's team. By the way, if you haven't watched our podcast about the top 10 ways where you could leverage and make money out of politics, just click it. Just find the information. You'll find it down here. It talks about how political parties and volunteers can leverage each other's with capabilities and stuff. What Songezo has done, he's mining skills from these young people. They are always around the young people, and these volunteers, they are employing them, and they put them there, and these guys are working. They're actually benefiting. It's the same voices. They're benefiting them. I'm trying to check Mpho. I don't know Mpho very well. Of course, I also don't know him, but I'm struggling to see the two being similar in terms of using leadership and using their compatibilities in terms of leveraging skills and maybe working in a team. Songezo speaks about how, without missing the ball, he wasn't going around talking about other political parties. He stayed firm, and because he's got a team, he's vice chairperson is a very successful lawyer, and she was grinding things, and she made sure that they kept their eyes on the ball. On the other hand, by disclaimer, he doesn't say it's an accusation, but you know what Songezo is saying. He's saying Arise South Africa was actually looking at other, and he did not keep his eyes on the ball. That's what he says. Of course, I'm adding what he says. I'm just reading between the lines, but that's where the difference is. And if you were to take them toe to toe, Songezo will win all the time. Songezo will win because of his vast experience in leading teams and in big business. And this organization, it's new. It needs people who have led large-scale organizations. Mpho Dadaga is a lone ranger. That's according to me. He's a lone ranger who hasn't gone further and built industries alone with big teams, and where he was entrusted with organizations. Maybe, for example, let me just say Prasa, for example. Mpho Dadaga has not done such a thing. And maybe that is just the tip. But two brilliant Africans, and they show you that the importance of getting people who are not out and out politicians. You see, Mashaba, the reason he was successful in Johannesburg is we needed someone who's not an out and out politician to come into the political space and make changes. And for that, I choose Songezo Zibi, very brilliant African. Both are, but the best one who takes the cake now is Songezo. Sharp. Just watch the video.
Thank you very much. So I want to apologize to you and your party. I always butcher Rise Mzansi with Rise FM, and of course Arise South Africa.
Yes.
And I've just done a piece on Arise South Africa, and people are telling me that they have been dealt a difficult blow by the IEC.
Yes.
And they are casting aspersions on the similarities in naming, the colors, and of course maybe there might be foul play from your side, because Mpho Dadaga has not been given a proper reason why he has been removed from the list as a qualified party. Do you have got anything that you want to say, distancing yourself or otherwise?
No, I mean, what happened with the IEC has got nothing to do with us, right? We don't run the IEC's processes. We are not involved. The only thing we made absolutely sure is that we had the best people to look after our compliance needs with the IEC. Bui Tumelo actually ran this process before he joined Rise Mzansi for other political parties before. So even though he's young, he's got experience, he knows how the system works. Silna Stein, our vice chairperson, is also a lawyer. And she was in constant contact with the IEC to make sure that we cross every T and we dot every I. The last thing that we set out to do, we set out to exceed the number of signatures required by the IEC. They needed 65,000. We went and got 112,000. There are parties that misunderstand the three ballot system and they fail to qualify because there will be three ballots: national to national, province to national, and regional to national. The regional to national is the one that is going to contain independent candidates. If you want to be on the national ballot, you also must qualify for the regional to national. If you don't know those little details because you're not paying attention, you're busy paying attention to other political parties, you are going to miss the requirements and it's going to be a problem. I'm not saying what happened. That's what happened. I'm just saying I've seen that problem with several political parties we're talking to.
Thank you very much. On